Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe. Comment below if you're so motivated to do so. This is Wonders of a Black Woman. I know a lot of people are talking about Jeannie Mai and Jeezy. Some people have, all kinds of spin on things. And I know I did in my last video about them, but this is kind of serious. Some things had surfaced about the reasons why they're getting divorced. For example, she supposedly had anger issues that she was working on. She allegedly cheated with Mario Lopez. Allegedly, Jeezy found nude photos that she was sending out and sexting Mario Lopez, and just a lot of things. You know, I just want to say, for the record, all jokes aside, it is sad when people who have made a vow of marriage, especially when children are involved, when they are separating, when they are divorcing, because it's not just about those two people anymore. There's a child involved. And you want to make sure that when you're going through things like that, that you're able to work things out, because you're still the mother and father to that child, and that is never going to change. There's nothing that could ever change that. So you have to find a way to keep it civil. But I just want to go back down memory lane a little bit when Jeannie Mai was saying how she had anger issues. And I want to talk about that because it's really important that we as women understand that we can be abusive to men just like men can be abusive to women. Domestic violence can be physical, it can be mental, and it can be verbal. And so when you are verbally abusing your man, that isn't cool, especially if you are emotionally abusing him, verbally abusing him, hitting him. That is not cool. And I was not a fly on the wall but in the relationship between Jeannie Mai and Jeezy, but I do pick up on this particular topic because it's something that so many of us women out here can relate to. And I want to discuss this because we need to know that we can be abusive as well with what we are saying and doing to men in the relationships. And as mothers, we need to, and sisters, we need to make sure that the men in our life understand that, especially when we're teaching our sons how to choose women that are not going to abuse them. And I just want to play this clip right here, and I'll be right back with my commentary.
There's a school of thought that when you get with somebody, they're supposed to love you for who you are. And you're not supposed to change for love.
Yeah.
Because love is about acceptance. And if you have to change for love, then it's not the right person for you.
Right.
But you changed a lot.
A lot. I don't agree with that school of thought because I don't expect somebody to change for me, but I want them to grow and to become better versions of themselves for them. Like my favorite quality in a person that I think is so attractive is self-awareness. I love when someone's self-aware to be like, you know what? That was kind of narcissistic of me, or that was kind of selfish of me, or that, and then whatever you see when you call that out, do what you got to do in order to kind of grow out of that, or stop, or draw a boundary between you and that person. For example.
Now, I would disagree that you're not supposed to change. You are going to change. Being a single, childless woman, and then you become a mother, you do change. A child can make you change. I mean, but you have to be careful that the change is growth. It's sort of like a seed that was planted in the dirt. It's not going to be a seed forever. It's going to over time, grow into what it's supposed to be. And so I don't think that being in a relationship with someone and you don't see any change in yourself, then there's something wrong there. If you're seeing a fundamental to the core change, then that's something that you would want to be careful of. But growing into a better person, you have some women who are buck wild, ripping and running the streets all the time, getting into all kinds of things. And when they become a wife and a mother, they may be more settled down. They maybe are more focused. There may be more career driven. There may be more goal oriented. So sometimes these changes are not negative. Sometimes they're positive. Now, if you feel like, now this is a while ago when Jeannie Mai did this interview, maybe she was going through something where she felt like she was changing too much. You have some women who were recreational drug users or drank a lot, partied a lot, went to clubs a lot, and then when they became mothers or wives, they put those things aside. But you have some women who feel like, oh, I'm changing too much. I want to get high. I want to go out to clubs. I want to do these things. I feel like I've sacrificed too much for this relationship. So I don't know if that's what happened with her, and she felt that she hit that brick wall in the relationship and the breakdown of the relationship happened. And it could have also happened with him where he felt like he was not getting what he wanted out of the relationship. Well, obviously it said so in the divorce papers that they both felt that they weren't getting what they wanted out of the relationship.
Example, I have a really hot temper. Not a lot of people know this, but it's just something in my family. I've seen it in my grandmother. Saw it in my grandfather, to my grandmother, to my mom, to my aunts, to me, right? But I didn't notice it in myself until I was with Jeezy.
Interesting. You didn't notice in your previous marriage?
No, because it has to do with the type of relationship you have and the type of respect you have for that person to mirror things back to you where you actually would stop you in your tracks and evaluate yourself,
So you had it.
So I had it, but nobody ever called me out on it.
Remember when she said the white guy kept her mean and lean? So in her last marriage, she was able to dominate that guy and, really be a bitch to him. And he just sort of went along with it.
Also, in my line of work, sometimes being a boss isn't so great for you because you have a lot of people who just agree to what you want. They're yes men, right? And so I didn't notice that I had a hot temper until I got with Jeezy. And here's a person who is my equal and I really respect. And when I would spew some of my old habits, and he was like, like, who? That's not flying here. And also, it would trigger him to come back at me with things where I was like, who the fuck do you think you are? But
it's very important for us to really examine this because she was able to bitch out her last husband because he was not a famous person. He was not a wealthy person. So she was the star. She was the boss. And I know plenty of women who are bosses, but they're not bitching out their husbands and treating their husbands like they're bitches. But she was like she said, she has that learned behavior from her family of being hot-tempered and abusive. And she can't say in all honesty that she didn't notice. Like, when you're screaming and yelling and bitching at your man. If you're throwing something at him or hitting him or insulting him. So it's not that I don't think it's not that she didn't notice that she was doing that. I think that he was just so passive that he allowed her to do that to him. He allowed her to abuse him. And Jeezy, he wasn't having that. And so he pushed back and it became a relationship where, like she's saying, he gave as good as she gave.
I'm flying here. And also, it would trigger him to come back at me with things where I was like, who the fuck do you think you are? But I was triggering him. So through work, we learned that we both have certain habits that to the everyday person, from friends, family, fans, they'll never see it. But to the person who loves us deep enough, you can press that button and boom, the dragon comes out.
Now, I just want to go a little bit down memory lane about the relationship between Chris Brown and Rihanna and how Chris Brown says that they became volatile to each other. At least this is his version of what had happened. where she was lashing out and hitting him that infamous night that he was locked up, and he eventually hit her back. And as we know, he was the one that was demonized and vilified. And of course, a man shouldn't hit a woman, but if she's scratching and hitting and kicking and spitting and doing all of this other stuff, he was a young, immature man, and he hit her back, and he ended up suffering great consequences because of that. I bring this up because we as women need to control our temper and recognize when we are being the abusers in relationships. And we also need to teach our sons, our brothers, the men in our life, how to stay away from toxic women like that, and how to walk away from relationships that are just toxic. So I think that Jeezy may have been going through something like that, where the relationship was just toxic to him. And sometimes the men do have to walk away because you are just not a good fit for the relationship, and somebody could end up seriously hurt.
You know, it would be fights, it would be verbal fights, physical fights as well, mutual sides, and this is the first time I get to say anything. And like I said, I still love Rihanna, but I'm just gonna be honest. We would fight each other. She would hit me, I would hit her, but it never was okay. It was always a point to when we talk about it, like, yo, what the fuck are we doing? Like, I don't like that. I don't like you slapping me. If I go on stage, I got a scratch on my face, and then I gotta explain it like, oh, no, I fell, or like if you got a scar or whatever, or a bruise, you gotta put makeup on it. I feel like shit. Like I'm not ever trying to put my hands on any female. Like me, I felt like a fucking monster. 7 years ago, I made sure the person that I was involved with before, I said, hey, if you can't come around to these places, and the person comes right to the table and say, hey, what's up, y'all? And I already know it's an issue, so I say, hey, cool, and I keep it, and they keep it moving and leave. I look over at Rihanna, and she's bawling, she's just crying. In the middle of the ceremony about to start, she's just crying, and I'm like, yo, please, babe, don't do this. Like, don't do this in here. Like I didn't know, I promise, I swear to God, I didn't know. So she got over it, she started drinking a little bit, we both were drinking a little bit. We was tipsy, laughing, joking, and then we left.
And Juan, just a few hours ago, we saw Chris Brown drive off. According to sources, the alleged fight broke out inside a Lamborghini that was located at Hancock Park.
As you know, young relationships, any relationship is based on trust, but because I told her that she didn't trust me with anything, so I would give her the option of, oh, you can look at my phone. So I gave her the phone. She looks at the phone, and there's a message, and it says, kill the Grammys, do your thing. And I didn't read the rest of the message, I didn't open it. So she opened the message, and the rest of the message said, I'll see you at the cloud party. So all thought she thought I was lying. She starts going off, she throws the phone, I hate you, whatever. Starts hitting me. We're in a little Lamborghini. She's fighting me, and I'm like, look, I'm telling you the truth, I swear to God. I'm telling you the truth, stop it. So then she hits me a couple more times, and I just kind of it doesn't go from translation to let's sit down, I'm telling you the truth. It goes to now I'm finna be mean and be evil, arguing. So then I remember she tried to kick me. It's like just her just being upset. But then I really hit her, like I with a closed fist, like I punched her, and it busted her lip. And when I saw it, I was in shock. I was like, fuck, why the hell did I hit her? So from there, she just spit in my face, spit the blood in my face, and I'm like, yo, so it enraged me even more. Like, it's a real-on fight in a car. We driving in the street. So I'm like, yo.
Obviously, I'm not going to play the whole video. I will leave a link in the description if you care to watch the whole story documentary about Chris Brown and him talking about how being with a woman who hit at him and triggered certain things in him, just like Jeannie Mai was saying certain things she triggered in Jeezy with her temper and her lashing out and being abusive to him. Jeezy has not come out and said that he was being abused. This is my opinion. of what Jeannie Mai is saying of her anger issues, and out of her mouth what she's saying she treated Jeezy a certain way. He may not think he was abused. That is his opinion. That's his relationship. The opinions in this video are my opinions and my interpretation of what I see, what I hear, and things like that. So it is what it is. I think in the relationship with Jeezy and Jeannie Mai, he was a fetish for her. That black man fetish that some of these women have out here. He was he had more money and has more money than she does. So a lot of times these women will use these brothers out here because they are looking for a come up. And a lot of times these brothers are more inclined to think that these women of other races are not going to use them or be gold diggers. And they end up giving their all to these women, and they end up abused, used, and everything else. But back to what I was saying, women, be careful out here how you treat your man. If you love him and want to be in a relationship with him, treat him right. Do what you're supposed to. If you're dealing with baggage or emotional issues, get help. Get the therapy you need. And please like, share, and subscribe. Comment below if you're so motivated to do so. Peace.